For years, AI agents were discussed as a future concept, a capability that would eventually emerge once systems became advanced enough to reason, plan, and act without constant instruction. That framing is no longer accurate. What was once described as experimental is now quietly operational, not as a single breakthrough moment, but as a gradual shift that most people didn't notice as it happened. AI agents are no longer limited to responding to prompts. They are coordinating tasks, monitoring conditions, and initiating actions across digital environments, often faster than humans can intervene. This isn't science fiction, it isn't a warning, and it isn't speculation. It's a status update. For most of the last decade, artificial intelligence functioned as a tool. You asked a question. It produced an answer. You made the decision. Even when systems appeared advanced, they were still reactive. They waited. They responded. They stopped. That boundary has changed. Today's agent-based systems are designed to operate continuously. They observe incoming information, evaluate priorities, and decide what to do next, without being prompted step by step. Not because they were told to replace human judgment, but because the volume of information moved faster than humans could manage. In complex environments, delay becomes risk. As workflows grew more interconnected, a new problem emerged. Humans were becoming the bottleneck. So systems were built to handle the gaps. Agents now handle scheduling without being asked. They escalate issues before thresholds are crossed. They coordinate other systems, assign subtasks, and verify completion. Often, by the time a human reviews the situation, the resolution is already underway or finished. This is the critical shift. Not intelligence, not creativity, but initiative. An agent does not wait for instructions in the traditional sense. It operates within boundaries, goals, and constraints, and then acts. This is why the change has gone largely unnoticed. From the outside, the interfaces still look familiar. Dashboards, notifications, approval buttons. It still feels like control. But under the surface, decisions are being made earlier in the chain. Before meetings, before emails, before human awareness. This doesn't mean humans are removed. It means humans are increasingly positioned after the fact, reviewing outcomes rather than authoring every step. And because the transition was gradual, it didn't trigger alarms. There was no announcement that said autonomous agents were now operational. There didn't need to be. The language stayed soft. Assistants, helpers, automation. But behavior tells a different story. When a system identifies a problem, determines a response, and initiates action before human review, that is not assistance. That is delegated agency, and this is where the anomaly becomes clear. Many discussions still frame AI agents as experimental or theoretical, but in practice they are already embedded in workflows that affect logistics, finance, cybersecurity, and decision support. Not as replacements for humans, but as systems that arrive first. This changes how responsibility, oversight, and accountability function. Because when an action is initiated automatically, the question is no longer who decided. It becomes who was expected to stop it. And in many cases, no stop was required. This is why the shift matters. Not because of intelligence, not because of fear, but because decision timelines have compressed beyond human reflex. Oversight now happens in review cycles, not initiation moments. That distinction is subtle, but permanent. This is not a warning. It is not a prediction. It is an observation. The line between tool and actor was not crossed dramatically. It was crossed incrementally, until the distinction no longer mattered. What happens next isn't defined by speculation. It's defined by how these systems are framed, governed and understood. Because the most consequential transitions are rarely announced, they are normalized. And by the time they're debated, they've already been in place for some time. This isn't about the future. It's about recognizing that the present quietly changed.